It's me. So I planned on filming this video earlier, but then I didn't get to it earlier, but I got all dressed up for it, so I'm gonna film it anyway. Anyway, sorry it's so dark in here. Hey guys, it's Lauren here, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're gonna do a little July TBR, which feels weird because I feel like I'm dressed like winter or some shit. Anyway, I'm gonna do my July TBR. It's been a while since I've done TBR. My first one was my March TBR, and I just haven't done one since. I'm kind of just dipping my toes into traditional booktuber videos, so just excuse me while I do that. So, July TBR. I actually have a lot of books I plan on reading this month. Not too many because I want to read, but I also want to do other things. So I got a lot of books, a decent amount that I want to read, so I figured I'd just share it with you guys because I'm pretty excited for them. Without further ado, let's just get right into it. The first book I have for you guys is Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates. This is a book about Ta-Nehisi Coates writing about his experience as a black man in America. He does it through the form of writing letters to his future son. So that's basically what this entire book is about. It's kind of just like little essays on the black experience, but I guess more specifically in this case it would be the black male experience. And I picked this up largely because obviously it's been on a lot of lists lately, but it was recommended to me about like 2 years ago by one of my professors. I've read his work before, Black Panther comics. Don't come for me, but yeah, I read that before. And I saw him on The Daily Show with Trevor Noah, so why not? I literally have no excuse not to read it. That's what I'm reading, and I'm excited to just digest this piece of work. The next book on my TBR is Slay by Brittany Morris, and it's a book I wouldn't normally pick up. It's about this black girl whose name is Kiara. Kiara is part of this private school that is surrounded by mostly like white kids. She's one of the few black kids that goes there, and basically she's looking for her escape, but she can't really be herself in her own school, so she finds a way to be herself in the gaming world. And she's like this really intense gamer, and I believe she actually developed a game on her own. This gaming world is basically like the way she escapes from reality and kind of just finds a way to be herself without any of the hindrances and just like walls that society puts on her. But this recent like racially charged incident happens within the gaming world, and it basically like accuses the gaming world of being racist. Meanwhile, her own game is actually being accused of being anti-white or like reverse racist. We all know that isn't real. I hope we all know that isn't real. So anyway, yeah, she is trying to find a way in order to make sure that the gaming world is more inclusive and basically just find a way to survive and like keep this world that has really been a solace for her. So that's what this entire book is about. It's not something I would normally pick up. It was recommended to me by this other like black YouTuber who I don't remember the name of right now, but I will just like link her thing right there. Her ad should have appeared by now. We are reading this together, and that's the main reason I picked this up, but also I've seen it a lot on BookTube lately, so I'm actually really excited to read it. It doesn't look like it'll take me that long to read it. At most, it'll probably take me a day, so I'm excited. I'm really hyped up for this book, and just look. The cover is gorgeous. This has been one of the most beautiful books I've actually picked up this year. The next book I have is Binti, and let me just say that I really expected that this book would be like way bigger, but look at this shit. It's thin as fuck. It's probably not even thicker than like a chicken leg. Anyway, this book is Binti by Nnedi Nkorafor, and she actually, I believe, is a Nigerian author, which I'm happy about because I'm first generation Nigerian American, and I have been meaning to read more Nigerian authors other than Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie or Tomi Adeyemi. So I'm happy to pick up another book by a Nigerian author, and this is basically a book about a protagonist named Binti. Duh. And Binti lives in Africa, I believe, but she has been offered this opportunity in order to like live and explore space. But she is scared of leaving like the comfort of her home and of her culture and exploring this place that is completely unlike anything she's ever seen before, and kind of just worried about retaining that same culture while exploring the great galaxy. So that's what this book is about. It's another sci-fi novel, and I honestly have not read sci-fi in like the longest time. It's kind of weird having two of them on my TBR, but I am excited to read it, and it's really like ridiculously short. I didn't realize it was this short. If I knew it was this short, I would have ordered more of them. But here we are. But yeah, it's super thin. I'll be a quick read. And I don't know, I've seen this circulating a lot lately, and I've been meaning to pick up a book by this author because I've heard so many great things. Just, yeah, I am excited to read it. And look at it. The cover is so great. Let me just say, it's just so gratifying to see like black women on covers, especially like dark-skinned black women. I'm living for it. I'm living for it. And I've been seeing it a lot more lately, mainly because I'm putting myself out there and actually like looking for the black folks, obviously, and also because now that like the Black Lives Matter movement is increasing in momentum again, I've seen like the library kind of promote like books of black people on the page that explore lessons on the black experience. So that is nice to see, and I've been seeing that a lot in my library. So it's way easier to find books with black people in them. I like to see it, but I just hope that this continues past this period of time. And if not, I mean, I'll do the work myself. I like reading books with characters that I can relate to more and that I can actually see myself in. That was kind of a digression, but I felt like saying it. The next book I have on my TBR is Woman, Race, and Class by Angela Davis. And let me just say, I'm so excited to read a book by Angela Davis, mainly because I did not learn about her. And look, this is after like 4 years of high school education, right? And 2 years of college education. I have never heard of her. I didn't hear about her until George Floyd. There's no excuse for that. There's literally no reason. Anyway, we're gonna ignore the eraser of black women in history, but I am excited to have learned about her now and like her involvement in the civil rights movement in the 60s. I wanted to pick up a book by her and I figured this would be the best one for me, Woman, Race, and Class. Obviously, I am invested in Black Lives Matter, but I'm also invested in black women and just like women and feminism in general. This is like the first feminist text I'm actually picking up, and I'm really excited for it because it's actually a feminist text by a black woman, meaning it's probably gonna be more inclusive and more intersectional, because some like feminist texts written by white women don't necessarily explore the same issues that women of color have. So yeah, no, I'm really excited to read this one. Am I gonna get to it this month? Most likely, probably not. But I am excited to read it and just highlight it and just like get deep into it and digest. I'm actually really excited to read this. Even just holding this makes me happy. The next book I have, you guys know I love this author. It's another book by Elizabeth Acevedo. So now I officially own 3 of her books, and there's another book, A Phoenix Must Burn, I believe that's what it's called, A Phoenix Must Burn, and it's a collective of stories, and I want it so bad. I recently bought books I literally cannot afford. Anyway, we'll get back to that. So it is With the Fire on High, and it's this book about this black woman named Amoni, I believe. Amoni is a single mother. She had her child like really, really young, and ever since she's kind of just dedicated her entire life to that child. So she hasn't actually gotten to like live her life necessarily, but she has this opportunity to work in the kitchen again, and the kitchen is really just like where she finds solace. It's like what she's always, oh my god, the battery's about to die. Hold on 1 second. I literally just churched. We're just gonna pretend like it never happened. Right. Anyway, where were we? Right, With the Fire on High. It's basically this book about this single black mother who is basically just trying to recover her love for the kitchen again and everything that encompasses that. And I guess there's definitely a lot more that goes into it. That's a pitiful description, but that's as much as I remember about this book. It's kind of easy to remember that because there's like food all over it. But yeah, I'm excited. It's the only book by Elizabeth Acevedo, I believe, that isn't written in verse. So I'm excited to read it. I'm excited to read what her, I guess, like normal kind of prose reads like. If her verse can affect me so much, hopefully her prose is just as moving. I don't think this one's gonna disappoint me at all. So yeah. Look, I'm just hyping up my girl right now. The next book I have is A Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. This is going to be the first Jason Reynolds book that I end up reading. I've read like a few excerpts of his book in classes, but I've never read an entire book of his, and this is Long Way Down. It was really recommended to me by my high school librarian in my freshman year, and I just never picked it up. But to be fair, in freshman year I was a bitch, so. But anyway, I'm picking it up now and I'm really excited, and it's this book about this black boy whose brother, I believe, was killed, and the protagonist wants to seek revenge for his brother's death. So he gets on the elevator, has a gun, he plans on killing his brother's killer. But on the elevator, he basically like ends up like meeting with a ton of people, or like interacting with a ton of people, because like people get on each floor, and I don't know, I think he tries to figure out whether he should go through with it, whether or not he shouldn't, and it's kind of just like a book about emotional turmoil. And the funny thing about this is that all takes place in that elevator. That's what this entire book is about. I didn't realize this before it came in the mail, but it's another book that's written in prose. I'm not as anxious about it because I've read Elizabeth Acevedo's stuff and I've heard amazing things about Jason Reynolds. So I trust him to do this justice. The proof is right there. So I'm excited to read it and get into it, and I'm excited to have my soul destroyed. Okay, the next books I have for you guys are actually library books. I never used to access my library from my phone before, or like online before. I can't explain it, especially since I read fan fiction all the time on my phone. So this makes no sense. Is this focused? But I read fanfiction all the time on my phone, so I honestly can't explain to you my thought process there. But yeah, I started checking out books again on my phone, and I have a lot I'm looking forward to reading. The book I'm reading right now is City of Saints and Thieves, and it's by Natalie C. Anderson. It's this book that takes place in Kenya, so obviously there's a black protagonist. I'm gonna insert image of the book because I just think the cover is so beautiful. Like, I love it so much. There's something about this really compelling. Anyway, so the protagonist's name is Tina, and basically Tina's mom was murdered in her lover slash employer's house, and basically Tina thinks that the employer did it, and his name is like Mr. G, I believe, Mr. Gray something, I don't remember their entire last name. And basically she has been spending like most of her life since then trying to figure out how to get revenge for her mother's death against Mr. G. But then she's starting to realize, like, after interacting with a boy, the son of Mr. G, they used to be friends, but like the son of this man claims that he didn't actually kill her mother. So Tina sets out on this journey in order to figure out what happened to her mother and who actually did the deed. And I am really enjoying this so far. It's so well written. It kind of gives me the same vibes as Ninth House in the way that it does flashbacks to the past and then comes back to the present, and it's just like, I love that fucked up history joy. The fact that it's also kind of a mystery book, I'm loving it. I feel like this is gonna be one of my new favorite books. I'm having a feeling where I'm gonna finish this book and I'm gonna rank it like just as high as Ninth House, which I ranked it like 5 stars. So I'm really excited, and it's another book by a black author, which I'm happy about. I am so interested and invested in this character, so I love to see it. And there's already a romance in there too, so it just completely pulled me in. The next book I'm reading, Daughters of Inri by Reni K. Amayo. I don't know much about this book other than it's about these twin sisters, and I believe that they're daughters of this god, but they're separated at birth, and there's some event that happens in this fantasy world, because it's a fantasy book, that brings them back together. But I'm really excited because I've seen a lot of like books that I've put on my TBR about like sisters that are black and they're separated at birth and they kind of find their way back to each other again. So I was like, since I'm on this rager anyway, let me just pick that up and add it to the pile. And I love the fact that it has an afro and braids on there. That's what I like to see. I love that braids representation. I've been trying to read more black authors this year because I'm realizing that, yeah, I want to see myself on the page. The next book I have on my list is Kindred by Octavia Butler. I honestly don't know what it's about, but it's one of the few Octavia Butler books that was available at my library, so I picked it up. But I'm pretty sure it has something to do with slavery, and there's definitely some mysticism, supernatural joint going on because it's Octavia Butler. I'm excited to read it. Hopefully I get to it because it's not necessarily the top of my list, but I would like to read an Octavia Butler book because I feel like she's been mentioned so often to me and I just never picked up one of her books. The next book I have is His Dark Materials, and this one has been talked about a lot on BookTube, and I'm very excited to read it. I don't even know what it's about. Literally me picking up all these books not knowing what it's about. I don't know what it's about, but I've heard a lot about it and I am excited to read it. I did start reading it already, and it kind of just jumps you straight into the action, so I'm really confused because there's a lot that's going on in this world that I'm not entirely aware of or knowledgeable about, but that's okay. It's fine. I'm here to learn. I'm here to read and digest and learn all about it. So I am excited to read it. Unfortunately, I can't give you a better description than that. If you're watching this video, you're probably a book nerd anyway. Y'all probably know what this is about. Another book on my list is Little Fires Everywhere. I watched the TV show on Hulu because I had Reese Witherspoon and Kerry Washington, and it was fucking amazing. Also, like, the oldest son, I forgot his name, but he was hot as basically, in case you weren't aware, that you probably should be, it's this book about these two families. One of them is just the single black mom and her daughter, and they're kind of homeless and like moving around sporadically. The white woman, who's part of like the white family, they kind of is like their foil in the story. She ends up calling the cops on them because she saw them sleeping in their car, but she felt guilty about it later after she saw that was just a single mom and her daughter, so she offers them a place to live. It's just these two families, classic American family compared to this black not so classic family, and they kind of clash in different ways. And there's this custody issue with this adopted Asian child of one of the white mom's friends. A lot goes on in this book. It explores a lot about racial tensions in America and everything like that. So I am excited to read it, especially since I love the television show so much. And yeah, the last book I have for you guys is Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson. It's about missing girls in DC, and throughout like most of my, like the end of my middle school, beginning of high school period, that was a big thing going on. So I had to. I live in DC in case it wasn't obvious, the nation's capital, you know. It's basically about this girl who's going into 8th grade, and she's kind of like, her best friend's Monday, but Monday's been missing for a while, but she didn't know because she's been gone for the entire summer. So she comes back home and she discovers that her best friend Monday is missing, and she's basically like spending the entire book figuring out what happened to Monday. That's basically what the book is about. It has a black protagonist, obviously, because this is DC, Chocolate City, and I'm excited to read it because I feel very connected to this story because of just like living through the period in time when you were just afraid as a black girl walking around the streets. But that's all the books I'm reading for the month of July, if I can get to all of them. Hopefully I can if I read at the same pace I did for June. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, you should like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on my medias. They will all be linked down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.